quite know either. But space.
Trippy.
Yeah.
Trippy, dude.
There was. I can't
Wait.
even tell you that.
Do you think we'll experience space one day?
I want to.
I hope so. It might cost a lot of money. Anyway. Hello and welcome back to the Infinite Variety Show. I'm Cameron, and with me I have my good friends Evan, Eddie, and Ronnie. How you boys doing?
Excellent.
Oh, good.
Well, we've been eating curry together for the last 30 minutes, so we've had some time to chat.
It's
But
cozy.
it's been a good day. It's been a good week. I'm recovering from a little bit of an illness, but everything's on the up and up. So I'm glad to be here. Glad to be with you guys. So
Wow.
tonight we're going to talk about Dreamland a little bit, and the land of dreams, and your dreams, my dreams, and the dreams of our childhood that were never quite fulfilled. Not really on that part, but we're also going to talk about childhood and anomalies. We're going to talk about the unexplainable, the things that might be explained one day but aren't right now. We're going to talk about strange goings on in the world. So let's jump into it.
It's gonna get weird.
Do you guys dream a lot right now? Would you say you do?
Yeah.
It depends.
Ronald?
It depends on like the amount of sleep I get and how tired I am and like how it. So sometimes I'll have in my life I'll have a lot of dreams, but it's like it comes and goes. Like it might be like months before I have a ton of dreams.
Yeah.
So
Eddie, you shook your head yes. You dream quite a bit?
Yeah, not. I would say the last month was. I don't think I really have dreamt that much, which is really strange. And then like more recently, I've been having more dreams that are just like super vivid.
Like the last week?
Yeah, I would say so.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember any of them, which sucks. But like,
How do you know you're having them then?
well, when I wake up, I will be like, wow, like I'll remember in that instant.
Oh,
I
but
know
then
that
they
I.
fade. Then they
Then it
fade.
fades
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I know that I dreamed. I just can't remember the content
Yeah.
Yeah.
or the context.
That's
of
why
it.
you got to write them down. You got to have a little dream journal next to your bed.
Well, Evan, I
all
know
down.
you've been a pretty vivid dreamer throughout the past, but do you still dream pretty vividly?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it feels like I don't even get any sleep. I'll like go to sleep and then go into
Jeez.
some sort of dream world and then wake up and be like, wow, I got to live life all over again. Here we go.
God dang.
Man, I don't for the most part. I don't. They say everybody dreams, but I don't remember my dreams at all. And on the rare occasion that I will have a dream and remember it, it'll be the most monotonous dream you could ever have. Like I'm dreaming about my real life, you know. Like I'm at work and something goes wrong or
Really?
or
That's
something.
I hear that's pretty common though. Like,
Really?
I've heard that before. Yeah.
But you
Where
know,
it's only that.
Like dreams about your daily life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
well, I think, and correct me if you guys know something differently, but I think the current what's what I'm looking for consensus on what dreams are is it's kind of processing things you learned into your memory, right? So it's trying to pick up the things you've encountered in life and storing them away to help you in the future. So I guess if you subscribe to that theory, then that makes a lot of sense. What you do day to day is go to work and whatever you do at work, you know, or come home and clean the house or whatever. So if that's your habit, then your brain is just trying to store that information away and make you better at it. But anyway, yeah, so I have really monotonous dreams, but it sucks. But
I do a lot of the chores I don't want to do during the day in my dreams.
really?
So yeah, technically things get pretty clean in my dreams.
In your
So-
dreams, your apartment looks great.
It looks great. No,
Nice.
it looks great day to day.
And in real life, it's
Then you
just
wake
a
up, you're
pigsty.
like, oh,
Didn't I clean that?
Get
I
back
swear
to
God,
sleep,
I
I
totally-
don't even know.
Oh, in the dream.
That's really-
Yeah,
how
have
did
you
that
guys?
get there? That beer.
That's yours, Ronnie. Drink
I
up.
dreamt it.
Have you had a dream that had a lasting impression on you? Good or bad? Like a nightmare that maybe as a child that scarred you like in real life or made you apprehensive of something or someone in real life, or something good that you remembered even to this day, like a really excellent dream, but it just had a mark on you.
Ooh. I have one really interesting one that just popped into my head.
Share
I don't
it.
know why this one specifically has stuck with me. It's super, super out there and super weird. But do any of you know the DJs Cruella? No?
No, I
I'm
don't think
not
so.
familiar with that.
They're like a dual like female DJ like set, and I had a dream because I was listening to them pretty heavily for a little bit.
Mhm.
Not anymore because I don't really dig their stuff anymore.
How old were you at this time?
Wow, that's a dig.
Yeah, don't listen to him.
We don't endorse those DJs here.
Maybe like 18, 20,
Okay.
somewhere around
For
there.
sure, yeah.
When I was listening to dubstep, I think. I don't know. But I had a dream that they were conductors on a train.
Ooh.
You might have told me this dream before.
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever talked
Okay,
about
keep
this.
going. What happened
Never mind.
next? They're just
Um,
conductors on a train. So is
and-
it going fast?
And
or-
I was like, oh, man, I hope they pick me. Like this. Like I don't remember
Yep.
too much from the dream, but I was just like, man, I hope they pick me up on the train or something like that.
This is your subconscious.
And then like we were on the train for a little bit, and then at the end, it was like they dropped me off somewhere, and they're like, all right, see you later, and I was like, bye. It's one of those like movie scenes where they're like chugging away.
Oh.
It's
And
like
it had a
one-
lasting effect on you?
I still remember it to this day. I don't
Yeah.
know
Wow.
why.
Interesting.
It's very unusual.
Yeah, it sounds like you had like some sort of dream to be a DJ, and you feel like maybe you missed the boat. Sorry, that
Dude.
just got really sad.
I never
This is
missed
not
that
about.
boat,
This,
okay?
this is not about crushed dreams.
It's in the works. It's in the works.
Okay.
I had a series of dreams one time, and we're going to talk about reoccurring dreams a little later, but this is one of the ones that also falls into this category for me. I had a reoccurring, that wasn't a reoccurring dream, it was a reoccurring character. And it's odd because this is around the time that I started watching cartoons. You know, back when we were kids, Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network played great cartoons, right? But this character in my dream was not based on a certain cartoon, but it was a small cartoon Blue Devil Man, right? And he would torment me, and usually my grandma in the dreams. I only had the dreams when I slept in a certain room of my grandparents' house, which I spent a lot of time at as a kid, right?
What?
And the first time he came into my dreams, he was outside of that window, and he was scratching to get in, and I knew he had ill intentions, right?
Huh.
Oh.
And then he eventually, in another dream, he got in and he was like messing with me while I was trying to sleep and stuff. And then the scariest one I remember, me and my grandma were trying to evade him in her car, and he was running at full speed of a car beside the car, and it was just really scary. And I did not want to sleep in that room after that because it stuck with me. I was so scared of that little Blue Devil Man, and it was not realistic at all. It was literally a Cartoon Network Blue Devil Man, you know,
Wow.
animated in my dream, overlaid over the real world.
Yeah.
Dude,
And he
that's
never
so
really hurt
strange.
me, but I knew he wanted to. And I
Huh.
was constantly getting away from his, like, almost like Wile E. Coyote-esque attempts to hurt me, you know, outlandish ways to cause
Drop
me
a
harm.
boulder.
He never dropped a boulder. I don't remember any specific ways, but yeah, that really stuck with me. I don't know how long, but for a long time I didn't want to sleep in that room because every time I did, I dreamed of that little Blue Devil Man.
Wow.
That's pretty trippy.
Yeah,
Never since then have you had that dream? Only in that room.
only in that room.
That's so interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah, wow.
Mhm.
That's really interesting.
And I remember it was always very quiet in that room, and I didn't like that.
yeah.
'Cause I would watch cartoons on this little tiny TV in my grandpa's office, which is the next room next to that room. And then when I was ready for bed, I would go into that room and go to sleep in that room in complete silence.
Mm.
And at my house, I guess we had always had a fan or something, you know, but that was also the first time I had to get used to sleeping in complete silence. I don't know.
It's a strange thing.
But yeah, it affected me for, I guess, probably a matter of months, not years or anything, but
That's still creepy.
yeah.
It like sent chills down my back.
Ron, did you
Chills?
have any
Yeah, a little
dreams
bit.
that affected you
It's
as a
not even
kid?
cold in
Or
here.
That
says
I'm sure there
something.
was,
It's not?
but I can't recall them now. But my dreams are
getting
usually
cold.
either like pretty mundane or they get a little crazy. Like
Yeah.
like there's flying from time to time. There's like breathing underwater. And those feel awesome.
Yeah,
That
those
feels
are the
so good.
best.
I even had a dream where I was falling, and just the rush of like waking up from the fall, like in real life, that I would keep going back to sleep and re-waking up and like
Oh,
experience
bizarre.
that.
Really?
It was like, at first it was like annoying, but I kept doing it. Like it felt like 10 minutes later I'd wake up again and like have that adrenaline
Whoa.
That's
rush.
so weird.
And so like I
were
almost
you
was like,
were you thinking consciously, I'm going to slip back into this?
I don't think so at first, but I noticed the pattern. I noticed it happened like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, whoa, like and I would go back to bed like thinking like I bet you that's gonna happen again,
Mm.
and it felt like amazing.
Are you talking about the
excited.
same period of time or
Oh.
sequential
Yeah.
nights?
No, in the same like,
Oh, gotcha.
but it seems like the times I dream are like the times like I'm super exhausted and like I
Mhm.
get a full night's sleep, like I get plenty of sleep, and that's
Mhm.
when I usually can recall that I dreamt something, but then it's like slips out of your like mind like so quick.
Is it tied to waking up naturally at all? Do you find
I don't know. I just know it has something to do with cycles, right? Like the sleep cycles.
it does? Yeah, I think
And
you
when you
only
wake
dream
out of
in
it-
REM sleep. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's only like 2 hours of your whole, or like it's not the majority of the time.
I don't know, man,
No.
because I've slipped into sleep like on a couch before and gotten into a dream
Really?
and then like woke up.
It's-
Oh yeah,
it-
I've
yeah.
had that too.
Yeah.
It can be heavily dependent on how sleep deprived you are, if I remember right. Because you can,
Mhm.
at certain points, deprive yourself from REM sleep. And if you're not sleeping well, you can immediately slip into it really easily.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because I've had that happen before too.
Yeah.
I'll like when I was in high school, I'd slip into like dreams all the time.
Yeah. Evan, did you
Instantly.
have a dream as a kid that stuck with you or
Well,
left an impression on you?
yeah, absolutely. Well, it affected the way that I slept my whole life. I used to have ongoing night terrors, actually,
Oh yeah.
two specifically that were just never seemed to end. They were just like absolutely horrific. Yours is like kind of similar to mine in the sense that it was like something with ill intentions, like coming after you and stuff. Like,
Oh, but no, you've told me stories of yours before, and mine was a little cartoon devil man that was obviously false, but you dreamed of like demonic figures in the room with you, right?
yeah, well, I would be in any given place, and I would get the sense that, oh my God, like something bad is about to happen. And every single time, I would like think kind of like in my dream, they're coming or they're here. And it was always they, like it was a group. And it happened so many nights in a row that like I could almost like time it perfectly. I'd be going through a dream and then all of a sudden it would be like click, boom, something would shift. And then it didn't matter if I was like next to a table or a car or a bed, something would grab me and drag me under. And it was a group of people like whispering horrible things in my ear. And like, it was terrifying. And at the end of every dream, I'd be at the top of a skyscraper overlooking a city at night. And I'd feel two hands push on my back and I'd fall. And I'd be watching like the windows go by, like,
Wow.
and then boom, I'd hit the ground and wake up. And it happened every single
So
night.
your dreams
Ugh.
feel pretty real to you.
Oh, absolutely.
See,
yeah,
my
they've always
dreams,
been really vivid.
They
yeah.
like they fluctuate. Like sometimes that I'll wake up from a dream like, oh my gosh, that felt like the real thing. But
Mhm.
like most of the time, there's like something like it's like watching a movie almost.
Hmm.
Like for me. So when people talk about like feeling their dreams like that, I'm like in wonder because I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would be-
exactly.
that would be great. That would be-
Exactly.
I mean, it would be terrible in a lot of ways.
It's almost like pre-lucid dreaming, because if you lucid dream, it's kind of like you can control the way your dream goes. Like you're
Mhm.
suddenly awake inside your dream and you can feel the wind on your face. You can
Wow.
feel
Yeah, you know that you're dreaming.
sometimes even pain, like your pain receptors for whatever reason, like you're cognitive of how your body feels and stuff like that. And when you're young and you don't have control over your mind as well, usually they're night terrors. At least that's how it's been for me. When I've lucid dreamed growing up and been able to more control them, I would like take control and be like, no, this isn't going to happen. Like figure out where my dream's going to go,
Uh-huh.
kind of like that. But as a kid, it was always horrible night terrors. And like up until like a year or two ago, I used to like pray like incessantly every time. I had like the same prayer every night before I went to bed and was like religious about it. Like I was not going to go to sleep and have another night terror like that. Like, cause it was every single night, traumatizing.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Well, that kind of segues into another question that I had. Well, first of all, have you ever lucid dreamed? And I think Evan, I think you made it clear that you have.
Oh yeah,
But
that's a cool one.
I have not. The closest I might have come, and this is foggy. Even I can't even say this is how it exactly went. I think a few times I've been in a dream, and as soon as I realized I was dreaming, and I did realize I was dreaming, I woke up.
Mm.
Now there are things that people say you can do to get out of that, like things you do things. Gosh, what is it? You do things in the real world that have a tactile response
Mhm.
that you do in the dream, and then if you do that and concentrate on that in the dream,
Yeah.
kind of like the top in Inception,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you can stay in,
Okay.
But a couple times I've known that I was dreaming, but as soon as I was aware I was dreaming, I woke up.
So, speaking of Inception, actually, I had a dream this one time where I was at a friend's party, just like a house party, right? And we're all having a good time. And I went into a back room, and I remember being so tired in this dream, and I knew I was dreaming, so I was like, I'm just going to go to sleep and wake up. So I went to sleep in the back room, and I didn't wake up in reality. I thought I did, but I woke up in another dream. That was like completely bizarre, just like otherworldly and weird shapes and images and things going on, and like people around me and stuff like that. And I remember thinking, okay, I need to wake up. So I closed my eyes and I focused really hard, and I woke up in the bed at the party of my other dream. And I looked around and was like, what's going on? Like, I thought I woke up. And so I walked around the party of the house, and I was like tripping out, and I was like, I like dreamed in my dream, and I knew this in my dream. Like, this is no joke. And then I focused really hard again, and then I actually woke up, and I like sprung out of bed and was like, what in the world was that? Like, how did that even happen?
Yeah.
Quite literally Inception, like a dream within a dream. Bizarre.
Dude,
It's
just make sure you
totally
don't die
bizarre.
in there, because if you
Yeah.
go too deep,
If you get lost,
you get lost in limbo, bro.
what if I'm in that dream right now?
Did you guys ever hear? I don't know if this is ubiquitous. It might have just been a southern.
That's a
I'd
bit
be weird
weird.
if it's a southern thing, but I heard from multiple sources in childhood that if you die in a dream, you die in real life.
Oh yeah.
You heard that as a kid?
I've heard that.
Yeah, like
That's
when you
terrifying.
fall off a cliff and you splat, if you,
you don't wake up
die
in time.
and you're
Yeah.
still in the dream, you'll die in real life. But
Yeah.
because usually what happens, you splat and then you wake up and you're like, oh gosh, But Eddie, have you ever had any lucid dreams?
I've never been like fully aware of myself dreaming, but I
Mhm.
have woken up from dreams where I have to shake myself out of the fact that that wasn't reality, even though it
Yeah.
would be like completely like
Yeah.
not plausible. Like it was just like this doesn't even make sense.
Mhm.
But I still have to be like, that was a dream. Like I did
Yeah.
not do that.
Oh,
last
it's so
night,
freaky.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Yeah.
so freaky, dude.
it gets really trippy.
Yeah, it does.
Ugh.
Well, I've
More
had
chills.
dreams that I'm flying,
It's chilly.
and I've woken up the next morning.
Waked
waked up.
Waked
I
up.
waked up. Wake up.
And
Don't wake up. You wanted to. Sorry.
System of a Down, it's a great band. And felt like I could still fly, and so like I had to like really convince myself. Like I would try to fly like how I was flying, I would actually flap my arms. And
Just
stuff.
recently?
No, this is when I was like
like a
One
little
year
bird.
ago.
pretty old though. Like
Ronnie the little bird.
13,
1 year ago.
I had a dream that I like was flying, and like I woke up the next morning,
Yeah.
and I felt like I could fly, and I had to really like, no, dude, you can't stop trying this.
Yeah.
Like,
Mom's like, Ronnie, get off the roof. You're like, Mom, I swear, this time
I
it'll
can do
work.
like
I,
It'll
I
work
went through a
this
phase
time.
that might have been brought about by dreaming about flying. I used to have a lot of dreams about flying. Was it a Monty Python skit or something, or some skit? It was like, I'm sorry, it's in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The way you fly is that you fall and then you forget that you're falling and then you fly, or something like that.
That's so
And
trippy.
I had a dream once as a kid. And I don't know if this next story is related to this, but I remember that flying was much like falling. You would fall and then you'd trust enough, and before you hit the ground, you would actually pick up some steam and fly. But I had a period of fascination
Yeah.
with flying. And me and my next sister down the line up, Chelsea, my parents let us like make wings out of cardboard, and they would duct tape them to our arms. We'd go outside in like thunderstorms and like wait for the wind to pick us up. I remember one time I was pretty serious about getting on the roof and jumping off, but I never found a way to because I was little,
yeah.
Thank
Glad I
God,
didn't,
yeah.
Yeah,
Whoa.
but flying. Have
That's
any of
pretty
you guys ever taken steps to remember your dreams or to
Yeah,
lucid dream?
some days I do.
Really, what do you do?
A lot of times my dreams, it's not one dream. Like I keep waking, like I'll wake up a few times and it's different dreams, and like sometimes they mesh and like get confused with each other, so it's hard. But it's like I don't know what it is about. Like I just try to like rethink it the best I can, but
Mhm.
like as I'm rethinking, like it's like almost like the image in my head is almost. It's kind of well, it's hard to say. Like it seems like it's hard to describe a dream. There's like it's almost like you're likening it to something else. But like I don't know, I get really confused, and like I can't get the specifics right, especially once I start explaining it to other people. Like once I start explaining, I'm like, well, that's not quite what it was. I just can't
Sure.
get it quite right, like express it right.
It's I mean, a lot of my dreams are beyond explanation.
Yeah.
You know, the way they weave together, and all of a sudden you're in this timeline, and then you're zapped out of that one to another one. But yeah,
And a lot of times my characters get confused because sometimes like I'm
Yeah,
a specific
totally.
person, but then I become another character but like it's weird. Like so, like I'll be that other character and have my face, but like
Uh-huh.
like a little bit down the road, it's like they're a different. They're still the same character, but they have a different face. And
yeah.
like,
No. I totally know what you mean.
so I don't know how to
Totally.
like explain it to people.
Yeah, you can.
And like things become different things. Like I don't.
but you knew.
But yeah,
Like it's weird because sometimes you'll have the sense that you're in a house that you know is your house, but it's
Right.
not your house.
right.
Right. Things like that.
I think
yeah.
a lot of times you just have to say like, it felt like this. Like that's how it usually comes out. Because
Mhm.
like if you're too specific, it's like, well, that's not quite right. But it felt like I was in my home, or it felt like,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't your home, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's really weird.
But
That's really weird.
you said you had taken measures to remember your dreams.
Just that kind of like rethinking it.
oh
and
yeah,
like,
yeah. Rehashing it in your
I
brain.
can remember some dreams I've had, but like a lot of the details.
You guys ever look up dream meanings online
Mm-mm.
and like try to figure out what certain specific objects or things in your dreams mean?
Is that?
Mm.
Can you trust that?
Probably not like 100%, but they're interesting. They're just theories, like just theories and ideas that you can kind of look up and I don't know, bounce off of, I guess. Like I don't know, like if you like one that I can remember that was really weird was like if you have like a school bus or like something like that, it's like you're dealing with stress about education or like I don't know, just stuff like that.
See, if I were to go that in depth, I would start to scare myself.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah?
yeah,
Oh,
myself
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And I feel like my dreams would become reoccurring on that simple measure of just like looking something up, and then it would just be a long road of just being like, oh my gosh, like this is what it means. Like
It's
but
kind of like
my
getting
own
on
mind.
WebMD when you have a sore throat or something like
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
God
You're definitely gonna
forbid.
die. Definitely gonna die. I one time, this is multifaceted. When I first moved here, I worked in the coffee industry. I worked at a coffee roastery swing shift, right? So that my
I
shift
remember
was
that.
2:30 in the afternoon to 11 o'clock at night, and I would take an hour-long max ride to get back to my apartment. And my lab was next to the roaster's tasting lab, right? And so all night long, I was making different coffees with different beans, different roast levels, different grind level, different volume of water ratios and a pour over, and I would drink them with the roasters. And when I first started the job, I wasn't used to drinking 6, 7, 8 cups of coffee
Yeah.
in the evening into the night and then having to go home and sleep, right? And also I had realized that I wasn't remembering dreams or having dreams, and so I was like, I'm gonna make this concoction. I'm gonna get online and find every herb that encourages sleep and dreams and mix them into one beverage and drink it every single night.
Oh my
So that's what I
gosh.
did. I can't remember all of them, but I know I'll never forget the main ingredient, because it stunk so bad, and then I forgot the name of it. Wow.
Did you put melatonin in it?
No, melatonin
story,
does nothing
bro.
for me.
Really?
Vanadium root, valerian root,
Ooh.
valerian root, and dude,
Root of Valerian.
I know
Almost-
it's
it
I
sounds
almost
like
that
something
word
out of
just gave it
Skyrim.
something
For
that
Game
game
of Thrones
of a
or
bat.
something.
Yeah.
it's
It
that,
does sound like
that
that.
name is in Game of Thrones. I think
Valerian.
it's
Valerian.
Yeah.
Criterion.
Yeah.
No,
And a
but
pinch of
valerian is a real
You know-
plant, and the root.
I really do think I have a vague memory of you doing that. Did I know you at the time?
No,
Are you
no,
sure?
this
'Cause
is
you
in the
were-
first apartment I had when I lived here.
Okay.
You met me
Okay.
when I had my second.
Okay, but you were still working at the coffee shop, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember
but-
that.
It was valerian root. It was
Wow.
kava root.
Mm.
It was mugwort. It was spearmint.
Spearmint.
Several other herbs, and I would make this drink, and the glass. Okay, you know how you can store things in glass, and it typically you can clean it really well, and if you store something nasty in it, the glass won't really keep a smell.
Mm-hmm.
I have the glass container right now that I had that valerian root in. It still stinks like valerian root.
Kidding me?
What?
It's stinky, man. It's stinky,
What does it
stinky,
smell
stinky.
like?
It smells like a little bit like stinky feet,
Oh.
and I really can't describe it. It's just bad.
Ugh.
And I would suck down this tea every night, dude.
That's
And I
brave.
would get in bed, and 15 minutes later, I was just like, it's like couldn't watch Netflix, couldn't do anything but go to sleep. I could not fight it off,
Yeah.
and I had some crazy dreams on that.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
I can
some
only
crazy
imagine.
dreams on that.
See, that's where a dream journal would come in handy because then you can look back and be like,
Yeah, that I've always wanted to, but now I'd be waking up and be like, I dreamed that my Adobe Creative Cloud license expired at work, and I couldn't remember my password.
Oh,
what
darn,
a
gotta
nightmare.
get
You
done.
know.
What a nightmare.
So lame.
Couldn't sleep last
That's
night.
quite sound like a nightmare.
And they say, you know, do you guys know about nootropics? It's just chemicals that you can take in a supplement form. On it makes one called Alpha Brain, where it just aids in it's cognitive aids. Just makes you a little sharper, you know. And it's just basically supplementing neurotransmitters is all it is. But they say those things make you have some crazy dreams. And then of course Ambien is notorious for giving people crazy dreams, making people crazy and stuff. But have you guys ever taken supplements or anything like that for dreams? No. I would like to try lucid dreaming. I know there's tons of stuff you can do to encourage it.
Yeah.
Can I-
experiment?
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had a dream where you there's like an important character or a person that you're talking to, but you don't know who they are in real life? You wake up and you're like, I have no clue who they are.
What do you mean by important?
I guess like they're like the context of the dream, like they're an important. I want to say character because that's the best way I can say it, but just like an important character that might be like you're talking to them a lot in the dream.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
And you're just like you wake up and you're like, I have no idea who that was.
I
I'm
can't
assuming-
say that I have off the top of my
I'm
head.
assuming you have,
I
right?
have. It's. I think it's mostly because I work in customer service and I see so many
Okay.
faces.
So many faces. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
That's interesting.
I'll remember a face and then wake up from that dream and like I have no idea who that is. But
Yeah.
like especially when I wake up from dreams where I'm like, that was a dream. I have to remember that was a dream. There were some where I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but I have like this weird connection to them now. And then, I'd forget half an hour
Of
later.
course. Yeah.
Dude.
I don't think I've had an experience like that.
That sounds
Yeah.
so cool.
It's trippy. It's so
Because what if
trippy.
you were to see somebody in real life and you can't put your finger on it, but you're like, you look so familiar, and
Yep.
it was the person you dreamed about?
That might have happened, but I've never put two and two together. I've never
Yeah.
done that.
Especially with your job.
Yeah.
You know, somebody comes in on a Tuesday and gets something, and then, maybe 2 Tuesdays in a row, and to you they're just another of the 300th person you've seen that day.
Yep.
Then you dream about them, and then they come in next Wednesday. You're like, looks very familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's strange. I was just curious.
Yeah.
It's a very weird sensation.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool, though.
What about reoccurring dreams?
I have had one,
Easy, Tiger.
and I don't really remember too much about it either. But it was specifically post-apocalyptic.
Oh,
Not specifically zombies, just
those
end
are
of the
the
world kind of
best.
stuff.
Yeah, those are the best.
How old were you?
I don't know either. Probably around the same age as the other one I was telling you guys about, probably like 18, 20, somewhere in between there. Relatively old. Ish.
So about 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
What do you remember from it?
Sometime.
I just remember coming back to it. So like it wasn't like back to back. It wasn't like
Yeah.
one day and then wake up, next day dream again. It was like weeks, maybe months in between. And it would just like it I don't remember exactly, so I might be making this up off the top of my head. Entirely possible. But it was at a point where like I went so far in the one dream and then months later it got dropped in the same spot. Like nothing no time has passed.
What?
Strange.
So
Very-
you remembered.
Wow.
So you remembered your dream that you had
or the setting more than anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just specifically the setting, not necessarily the like what's happening.
Did you remember that in the dream? Like you recognized it when you entered the scene or whatever, and you were like, "Wow!"
Or when you
been
woke up.
here.
I don't know. Like I said, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's only happened probably that once, maybe in one more time before.
Yeah.
It's trippy. It's weird.
Yeah. No kidding, man. That would be a
Especially like
trip.
end of the world dreams. It's just like
You guys,
super surreal.
you guys have had dreams, right? Like where you're like in the same night, like you have this, like obviously you're saying like you'd wake up and then like go back into it. Like, have you ever had a dream where you like wake up and you're like, oh, it's a really good dream, and you fall back asleep and try to finish it?
Yeah.
And you can like go back in it.
Yeah.
You guys ever have that happen?
But it's
I
a
don't know if
bummer
I've
when
ever
it
been
does-
able to.
When it doesn't happen, it doesn't like you'll go back to sleep thinking like, man, why did I wake up?
oh, I had the best
that
comeback.
awesome?
Like,
Dude,
But sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
I've gone to the extent of being like, I would wake up and be like, I have to pee so bad, but I want to continue this dream. And so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
run, go pee, come back, and be like, please, let me just
Yeah.
get back in
Mhm.
this dream. It's so nice.
So many times, but I've never been able to.
Never.
It's
Never,
hard.
never,
I think
never,
maybe
never, never,
once
never.
or twice.
what were
Really?
you dreaming about, dude?
I don't know. Not anything important.
You're smooching on a cutie.
No, it wasn't that.
Okay.
I like to escape reality. Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
There you go.
sad.
Come on, man.
Around the time that I read The Hobbit for the first time, which I was in the 5th grade,
Oh, I love that book.
I
Love
began to have a recurring dream, which it never had a plot, never had a purpose. But I would be walking along a path and I would see a nondescript hole on the side of a hill that in real life I would never be able to fit in, right? But I would go in this hole and wiggle, and then I remember there was a left turn, and when I took that left turn, it opened up into a hobbit hole of sorts, a wood-clad room with a fireplace at the other end, and immediately when walking in, there was a wooden dinner table, a 4-seater dinner table with wooden chairs right here, and a bookshelf, and then in the next area of this little shotgun room, there was, like I said, a fireplace at the other end and a wooden rocking chair by the fireplace. And I never got very far into the room or did
So
much in the
specific.
room, but I went into that room several times throughout the years. Never anything to do in there, never anybody in there.
Welcome home.
I never felt like it was mine. You know, I didn't feel like I was going home because the first time I went into it, it definitely wasn't mine. It was like, I'm going to explore where this hole goes, and it led into this room. But I knew I was welcome there. And it was always it was like a really happy place.
Oh yeah.
Then it
But-
gets dark,
It
and
was.
Gandalf comes in and says,
Yeah.
Is it secret?
And
Is it safe?
And then Leonard, what's that guy? Spock. Leonard Nimoy, is that his name?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
shows up,
Spock.
sings that Bilbo Baggins song.
Oh, it's a good song.
What?
There's a Hobbit. I wish we could look it up right
We-
now and show everybody it. But
I
it's-
don't know if we'd be copyrighted for
Where
it.
does this come into The Hobbit?
he's got a song called Bilbo Baggins.
It's a song that he
Spock
wrote about
does?
Bilbo
Yeah,
Baggins.
The old school
Leonard
Spock
Nimoy.
or
Spock?
he did
Leonard
music.
Nimoy.
He did music.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
Wow.
we should listen to it after this if we have time.
We
fun.
definitely should.
It's like so cheesy.
It's a hoot. No, it's so
It's a
good,
hoot.
dude. It's so good.
Hey, cheesy can be good.
It's a hoot. Any other reoccurring dreams?
Oh,
Ronald,
man.
do you ever have any reoccurring dreams?
Well, flying and like swimming, it'd be in different contexts.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah.
swim-
Swimming.
breathing underwater.
Yeah.
There probably was some, but dreams are some of those things that like I can't remember well.
Very elusive.
Like it's in the moment, like like hours afterwards, like maybe a few hours, and then it's gone. And like I can remember a few things.
I don't
but-
think I would remember that Hobbit hole dream if I wouldn't have had it so many
So
times.
many times,
You know,
yeah,
that
yeah.
it had more significance to me then, you know.
Yeah.
Evan,
What?
any reoccurring dreams besides your crazy ass night terrors?
God, dude.
Ugh.
Yeah, but no, I wish I had something like a nice little hobbit hole to go into and find a
Yeah,
happy place. That'd be
boy.
legit.
Yeah.
But no, not for
Sounds
me.
dope.
No, mine was more like a dark void of like horrible nightmares.
Come on,
so.
dude. Keep it chipper.
Oh man,
Just kidding.
It's been a long journey,
Joke.
guys, but I'm here. I'm here.
I have
Long,
one more that
dark
touches on
journey.
several themes that we've touched on actually.
Tanner gets it.
I understand that there have been other people that had the same dream a lot, where I was just riding a bicycle over a salt flat, a desert with a bunch of my friends. When you hit a fog patch, next thing you know, falling off a cliff.
Wow.
As soon as I splat, I wake up.
Yeah, it's always
But-
the splat.
Yep.
Thank God for that.
So I haven't had that one in a while. But
Yeah.
well, let's move on. Let's talk about.
Not sleepwalking. We're not going to talk about sleepwalking.
Oh, you reminded me. I left one question
Yeah.
off. That's right, Ronnie.
I've done this a lot.
I can't wait
Have
to
you?
hear about
Ronnie
it.
didn't want to skip it because
Notorious
he's
sleepwalker.
I can
Can't
talk
wait to
about
it.
this.
I can't wait.
on lockdown.
Well,
Thank you, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Have
Sit-
you
that's
ever
the
slept
question.
walked? And Ronnie, I take it that
Absolutely.
you have, or slept talked. We can talk about sleep talking
yes,
too.
I did that too.
Wow, you're an active sleeper,
yeah.
dude.
Well, not
No wonder you never dream, man. You're busy, man.
No,
busy.
You're walking around chatting with your roommates about
Yeah.
potatoes and
Delivering packages.
And I'm actually worried because I remember the stories from like when I was younger and like how like people would tell me like, oh, you said this, or you did this, or you woke up here, and like
you got nobody watching over your shoulder now.
now, so I'm a little worried. Like, so if I ever do like just randomly like
What's
stay at a friend's
I'm
house or
watching over
something,
his shoulder.
I'm always like insecure that like, did I say something like really weird in my sleep?
It's something you think about.
Yeah, because like people will tell me like, Ronnie, you said this.
Well, hit us
You
with a
said
story
this."
or two.
All right.
Heavens.
So when I was young, it would be mainly just like waking up in like different places, like not in my room, like in
Yeah.
my living room,
Grocery store.
grocery store. No, never in the house.
you were serious.
No,
Babies Are Us.
yes,
Whoa, it gets a little weird right there, doesn't it?
I guess so. I don't know. You guys are
Where you
you
going?
guys are saying this stuff, but so I would wake up other places, but then there was a few times where I woke up doing things like cutting paper with scissors.
No.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
that
could have
that
cut
could get
my
dangerous. Yeah.
finger off.
Yeah.
Are they super sharp scissors or?
Well, so I had my
That's what
homework.
you're worried
I
about.
had my homework out,
Are
they
and I was cutting
sure?
like cue cards for like I was like probably like in kindergarten or something.
Uh
like
huh.
that. So I had been doing that all like day, and then like was done with that, and then went to sleep, and then I just like the next thing I woke up and I was cutting paper just like this.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
Oh my
what?
god.
You're a good student.
Oh my.
And there was a time I stayed with my grandma, and the next morning she's like, Ronnie, you came into my room and you said, where did the girl with the jump rope go? She's like, Ronnie, what? She's like, go back to bed. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That
weren't-
would freak her
hey,
out.
You weren't holding the scissors at that time, were you?
No.
Oh my
No.
god.
Where's the girl with the jump rope go?
Where's
That was
the
like
girl
2
with
years
the jump
later.
rope?
And she just told me the next morning. I'm like, I don't even remember dreaming about that. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Were your eyes open or?
I don't know. I don't know if she told me that.
Oh man, they can get so embarrassing
And-
when people tell you later.
There was a time a friend stayed over, and he told me the next morning, he's like, Ronnie, yeah, you just like sat up and like pointed like towards the roof, and you were like, there's something on the roof. I said that.
Oh.
And
Yeah,
he's
dude.
just like,
My.
he's like, is this some like sort of spiritual weird like possession type thing going
What
on?
age were you this time?
I was probably like 15, 16.
Okay, so adolescent.
And then
Yeah.
there was another time with a
That's
friend,
creepy.
and I like did
Things are
basically
getting
the
weird.
same thing. I sat up and was like, said something about like, watch out for the black hole, and like was just like staring. And then
Ronnie.
it would go back to bed. It was
Ronnie,
So sketchy.
Man,
a lot
these
of
are
stuff
some
like
good
that.
good juicy
that
stories.
they'll tell me, and I'm like, I don't remember dreaming about anything like that. So
man,
it's been weird.
is that all? Is there more stories?
There might be more, but I think that's basically it.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Sleepwalk or sleep talk?
I've had a lesser extent of some of the stuff you've had, where I will like get up, say something, and then fall back asleep. That's about the extent of my stuff. Or I'll say like gibberish or say a couple words, be like,
Yeah, that's the closest I've ever come to personally. Is my mom, when she would wake me up, was we homeschooled, and so if we weren't up by a certain time, she would make her rounds to all of our rooms and wake us up. And a couple times, I would raise up out of bed, asleep, and say something completely unintelligible, and then lay back down, and she'd be like, "What?" And I was like, "What? What? Like, what did you just say?" And it's like, I can't remember.
Just- yeah.
Oh, I was not awake. I see. Did you ever
Oh, I
sleepwalk or
see.
sleep talk, Evan?
Oh, my whole life, man.
Really?
It was like the worst. I'd wake up in random rooms of the
Dude,
house.
this guy's got some sleep drama, does he not?
Dude, seriously.
Bruh,
I'm gonna
Get
go to
your
sleep. I'm gonna dream about
sleep
demons.
together.
I don't know where I'm
Ain't
gonna
no
wake
rest
up.
for
I don't
the
know what I'm gonna
wicked.
say.
Money
Man,
don't grow on trees. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I had this one time. I stayed with my aunt Gladys in Port Angeles, and I went upstairs and I thought her house was haunted. So I had a really hard time getting to sleep. First of all, that's probably what sparked this whole thing. But I remember I ended up waking up in like a half dream state, and her house was on a bluff with like 100-foot drop, and then out was just like the water, and then across was Canada on the other side of the water. So I woke up and their whole back wall of their house, of their like 2 or 3 story house, was just glass. It was like a big glass pane. And I remember I woke up and my nose was pressed to it, my hands were against it, and I was just watching the sunrise. And I was like, what am I doing here? This is crazy. How did I end up here?
Oh,
so
gosh.
I go to turn around. I'm like terrified. So I go to turn around and walk away. And then I wake up and I'm in the shower in the bathroom on the first floor. And I'm like laying in the shower and I'm like, how did I get here? I was like, what is going on? Fell back asleep. Woke up the next morning in my bed. So I traveled. Like I went all the way around the
I'm
house.
so glad I don't sleepwalk.
Yeah,
Me
dude.
too,
They tell
dude.
you to not wake up a sleepwalker for a good reason, because when you wake up yourself, you're scared. But if
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
wakes you up, you're gonna be like, what? Like, where am I? Where's the girl with the jump rope with the scissors and what's going on?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah,
Crazy stuff.
yeah. My
Um,
whole life like that.
There's
Yeah.
something on top of the roof.
my sister Chelsea had a bit of a sleepwalking problem, where my parents had to take measures against it.
You're kidding.
So the first instance I remember, and Chelsea, if you ever hear this, sorry for ratting you out on this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So me and Chelsea, I'm separated from my youngest sibling by 7 years, right? So when me and Chelsea were kids, we had 2 very young siblings, right? And we also had dogs and stuff in the house. So for whatever reason, there was a child fence on the bathroom that me and Chelsea could get over, but the other smaller kids could not. And one time Chelsea walked up and couldn't get across the gate while she was sleeping, so she pulled down her underwear and squatted on the fence and peed right there.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's other
done the
stories
same thing.
too.
When you gotta go.
But and this
Sorry,
is what
Chelsea.
that was when we lived in Louisiana. So I was less than 10. That means my brother was less than 3 when we lived at that house. But when we lived in Mississippi, I mean, I was over 10. So Chelsea was she's 2 years younger than me, so she was probably between 6 and 8 when this happened, or maybe even up to 10. But when we would go to sleep, my parents would stay up in the living room and watch TV afterwards, right? And one night, Chelsea got out of bed and walked to the back door, which was in our living room. And she started to unlock the deadbolt. She unlocked the deadbolt, unlocked the door. By the time my dad made it to her, he said, "Chelsea, what are you doing?" And she looked my dad in the eyes and said, "I'm looking for my dad." What? Yeah. How creepy would that have
That's so
been, to have
creepy.
your sleepwalking daughter look into your eyes and say, "I'm looking for my dad"? So we've got one of those little security latches just to make it harder for her to get out while she's sleepwalking.
Goodness
But yeah, as
gracious.
far as I remember, she had the door open. She was about to walk outside.
Dang.
Where do you think she would have went?
She couldn't have gone anywhere, just into the woods.
Wow.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
That's
That
how
is
Yeah.
scary
that's
story.
creepy,
Who
Yeah.
knows?
'Cause
I don't
you
know
guys-
how
yeah, you lived on
sleepwalkers.
a
I mean, I guess
farm.
sleepwalkers tackle stairs, okay, but you had to go
Yeah.
downstairs to get off the deck. She could have gotten hurt,
Oh sure.
Dang.
you know.
Oh sure. Yeah.
But
Yeah. There's no doubt about
it's weird
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Ronnie, I'm so sorry. I almost glossed over
Yeah.
your segment.
That was my
Holy
segment.
moly,
That
was your
I've
moment
done that
to
a lot.
shine.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy.
I don't
was
sleepwalk
beautiful.
anymore though.
I'm gonna spend the night at your
Haven't
house a
in
couple
years.
times next month.
I might say weird stuff. That's
Dude,
what I'm
that's
always
fine.
afraid
Yeah,
He's
of.
me
gonna say
too.
weird stuff. You're gonna have that blue devil
You don't
show
need
up
to-
again.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
gonna
gonna
record
be
it
a
for
real
Instagram.
weird time.
I'm gonna record it for Instagram. We're gonna make a whole new series.
Uh,
You don't honestly. You don't
I
need
don't
to
know what
go
I'm gonna
stay the
say.
night at his house. He'll come find you.
Yeah.
He'll show up at your door and be like, "Something on the roof."
Some other. No, I haven't.
Watch out for that
I
black
haven't
hole,
slept
boy.
walk. To my knowledge, I haven't slept walked in like at least like
To your
5,
knowledge.
6, 7 years.
You
just
get
gonna
up and
wake
go in
up
the
and be like-
refrigerator
Well, I've
for
never
that cold
woken up
slice
in
of
other
pizza,
places
and Brian's
or-
just like, "What's up, Ronnie?" And you're like, "What's up? I'm
You're
eating pizza."
Nope, that
You're
nobody says that.
You're gonna be walking
It's
around
been
and you're gonna be like,
years.
ketchup,
It-
my
I
favorite
could've.
condiment, and then that's it.
Just drink it.
Walk
Go
up,
to
walk
the
upstairs,
fridge
see
and just
Brian,
drink
be like,
some
"Hey,
I
watch
like
out for
those
that black
odds,
hole."
dude.
All right, so let's close that chapter.
Let's close it.
Dreams are over. Moving on to anomalies. Have you guys ever experienced an anomaly? Just something you can't explain. You know, it could be paranormal. You know, Cam's Bigfoot story a couple weeks ago. I would say that's an anomaly.
Yeah.
I know Evan has one he'd like to share.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Unless anybody else has got one right on the
I don't have one
on the fly.
Get to it, my boo.
So I was at my parents' house in northeast Vancouver. This is probably like 8 years ago, maybe 9. And I walked outside, and man, it was just like, it was impossible to miss. There was no feeling involved. I literally walked outside into the driveway to leave the house, and I look, and there is no joke, like 2,000 crows posted all down the street, like on fences, cars, houses, like just 2,000, like just a ridiculous number, like it was black all the way down. And I just looked and I was like, oh my God, like what is happening?
And you also said they weren't calling or anything. They were
No,
completely silent.
it was
Wow.
it was a silent day.
That's
Like there was
scary.
no wind, there was
That's
nothing.
weird.
And so,
What is your life, my dude?
dude, I hope that was not
For
like
real.
A dream.
I hope that didn't. Yeah, I hope it didn't
I dreamt
pertain to
that.
me.
What is
I
your
hope that they
life,
were-
my
The
dude?
crows were up to something, dude. That had to do with the crows. That wasn't me. I just walked out and like experienced it. But yeah, I'll never forget that. That was something to this day. I still haven't even like looked it up. Like I want to. I'm going to look it up tonight and see if that's like a thing that happens, because it was so bizarre that I had no ready explanation. I couldn't even logically like say, oh, well, this is just like they're going south for the winter or something. I don't know. They were just like all there and they were just hanging out. It's totally bizarre.
I've
was
never
throwing up.
seen 100 crows together, much less 2,000.
Oh, dude, it was an insane amount. Like just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Was it 20?
I've seen a lot a few times. I don't know about that much, but I have
Yeah.
seen them like a bunch just cawing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but that's rare when you see even that much.
Oh yeah, man.
Have you-
It was unimaginable. I don't even know how it happened.
Have you guys ever hit a bird while driving in a car?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I've hit 3. One was in Oregon,
Like on your front windshield?
Yeah.
Type, like driving?
or the
that you
grill.
did?
Yeah, one was in Oregon. Less than a year ago, going fishing one morning, I hit a bird. But the first 2 birds I hit were on the same day, on the same road, in front of the same house, and they were the same type of bird. One going into town, I hit a cardinal, a red male cardinal, on Watts Lane, in front of the Case's house, going into town. On the way back,
Jesus.
I hit a red cardinal in front of the Case's house, also.
The world?
Yeah, it's just like, what are the odds of that?
Yeah.
You know,
Pretty
I think
slim.
that to me that's an anomaly.
Yeah.
And then I didn't hit a bird years before that, and I didn't hit a bird for 5-6 years after that until the one I hit this year. So the first 2 and almost the only 2 I've ever hit, same day, same road, in front of the same house, and same type of bird.
Maybe it was like
It's
maybe it
trippy.
was like the first bird's brother or something coming at you for revenge. He's like, "You killed my brother!"
Might have
and they
been.
just like swooped down and was like,
Might
"Get
have
him!
been. There's that Honda Accord again.
That's
him,
the
boys."
one. Get him!"
Get him, boys. Wait, I don't have no boys. Just me.
Or maybe they were dropped as babies, like they fell out of the nest, and
No,
they were
no.
just like
Dude,
not. They
that's
weren't all there.
Stop while you're
They were
ahead.
not. They're making me
Oh.
sad.
They were not
Oh.
babies.
Oh no, they were full grown.
Okay,
But Ronnie's
okay.
saying they fell out when they were young.
Young.
Maybe they were touched.
They were
As
little-
you
they,
say.
They weren't at full capacity.
A few cans, sort of a 6-pack.
Maybe.
You know,
Who knows?
Makes me sad.
dumber than a tube sock full of nickels. You know.
Wow.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's a very vivid image.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. Pretty dumb. Any anomalies for you on the other side of the table? Then?
I'm sure I have, but like I can't recall any right now. Like I would have to hear a story that
You've
triggered.
never experienced anything that you can't explain.
Yeah, all the time. But like nothing of that magnitude. Like nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing that I can think of. I would have to hear a similar story that would cause me to
Recall it,
remember.
yeah.
I can't just
Yeah.
drop things like that.
Yeah. It's
not
so
how my
crazy. I
mind
feel like
works.
as adults, our brains are so consumed with the monotony of day-to-day
Your cord,
life.
I've been pulling on your cord.
Oh, you're good.
Well, no, like this. I started to do like that.
I
Oh,
felt
you,
the little
you're
tug
yanking
and
his
you're like,
chain, boy.
Anyways,
I feel like as adults,
Look
our
at
minds are so consumed by the monotony
yeah.
of day-to-day life. Like, you know, because my weeks are so busy, so busy.
Yeah.
And from the moment I wake up, I'm engaged about the next thing. You know, wake up and make breakfast, put myself together, get to work on time. What do I have to do at work? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to try really hard to get out of work. What do I do after work? I'm going to the gym. Have to make it home to do the podcast. I have to go to Dungeons and Dragons. And then it's like maybe an hour of recreation.
Yeah.
And then I'm asleep and then repeat.
Yeah.
And I think that really has an effect on our brains and recalling things from our past,
Right.
you know.
And also,
Yeah.
people don't take the time to reflect on their past as much anymore.
That's
like,
true
I know
as well.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of time. I like filled with other things, but like, I know that's something that's like needed to remember. And then
Mhm.
also being around your family who know, or people, friends that you've known for a long time, they can easily help you recall
Yep.
stories because they, being near them, or like you remind them of something, and they're like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah.
remember that?" And they're like, "Yeah, I remember
It's-
that. I haven't thought about that in years."
Huh.
You know, like I've gotten in touch with old friends too that'll bring stuff up that I can't believe that how many experiences that you have with people around you
Yeah.
that other people will remember them, you know, just like clear as day.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, wow, no, that happened. But you can remember it as they tell it.
Yeah.
But it would never come to your mind otherwise.
You wouldn't think about
right?
it.
Yeah.
And- yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty fun when that happens. Actually, I love that.
Yeah.
I love reminiscing and yeah.
Some of the times in my life that I remember the most vividly and can tell you the most stories from is my adolescence with my high school friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I firmly believe that's because whenever we get together to this day, all we do is tell those stories
Retell the
again.
stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so it's just hammers it in,
Yeah.
hammers it in.
Yeah.
But I've thought many times recently about how little I remember from my childhood.
Yeah, no, it makes me
Just like,
sad to
it's
think about
gone.
It. Yeah.
Gone.
Doesn't even
I remember
almost feel like my
some.
life.
I remember some
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
from.
Yeah,
Childhood.
some stuff.
I'm just so forward and presently thinking these days, you know?
Oh.
And I don't think about the future probably enough. I'm thinking about the daily grind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Just
know
going
what-
from
Same.
one thing to the next.
Probably what would be really impactful in your life would be to go back home and to have I know like for nostalgia it's one of my absolute favorite feelings and experiences of all time. Like I would choose nostalgia over anything. And it's like smells. Like certain smells will bring something back or
Yep.
like music, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think if you went back home probably and you had all those smells and the feeling of like just being back in that environment, it would probably trigger a lot. Like you'd be like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I remember what I
Yeah.
did over there by that building.
I go
Or
home
that-
every
that
year.
train, you know.
And I have had that experience going back to like my original stomping grounds in Louisiana where I was a small kid, you know, passing a corner store and remembering like, oh, that's where my mom would stop after picking us up from school. And I remember oftentimes she would get a link of this Cajun sausage called boudin. Boudin. Boudin.
Never heard of it.
And
That actually sounds familiar.
you've seen it probably around boudin balls, but you know I would remember that she used to stop frequently and buy boudin at this one corner store, or you know driving past the high school and remembering exactly what it looks like to walk in the front doors of the high school to go to a Baker Buffalo Bills football game. And remember interacting with the See, it's even bringing stuff back right now just
Yeah.
because I'm doing that exercise, you know, interacting with the mascots and having a speech impediment where I couldn't say buffalo. I would say abalo. The Baker Abelos. I had really bad speech impediments when I was a kid.
I like
I had a
Abelo
slight
more,
one.
anyways.
Abelo.
Thank you, Eddie. You make me feel so good.
I'm serious. I like Abelo more.
Abelo.
Abelo Bill.
Oh, God. That's so funny.
I have downloaded
I like
2 apps now to begin meditating, but I haven't started yet.
Huh?
You know, it's basically mindfulness,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I hope I have some positive cognitive results from that.
Yeah.
Reflecting, I think you brought up an important point that we don't sit and reflect about our past as much,
Yeah.
you know, and not, we're busy,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, but
It's-
cementing those stories in your mind, I think, is important.
It's a little too low on our priority list. It
I-
should be
Yeah.
more. We should carve more time for
I
it.
will say this might just be me, and it might be no one else. But when I went to Bend, I think I've mentioned this before. But I went on a hike at Smith Rock,
Yeah.
and there was like a good chunk of that hike where it was just like there's a lot of people here, like I can't really focus or like do anything. but like maybe halfway through the hike, I got to a point where there was no one out there, and I was just like in a moment where I was like, I'm just gonna reflect on like my last couple weeks and see what I can do to improve, like what I find in my day-to-day life that I'm appreciative of, like
Yeah.
that I appreciate, and what things I might need to work on, what things I need to focus on, stuff like that. It was weird because like it just came out of nowhere, so it almost ties into the anomalies and focusing on your past. Is that I just was out there and I was just like so vividly thinking about stuff that I care about, that like I'm not saying this to sound like I never cry, but I don't. And like especially like in moments like that, and I was thinking about stuff and I would just like I got so emotional.
Yeah.
And so it was like borderline spiritual for me to like go out there and like think about all that stuff. So
Yeah, that's
I
really cool,
encourage
man.
it. I
Yeah.
encourage it.
That's
for
really
everyone
cool.
else.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's I mean, some
wild.
people, you
That's
know,
so awesome.
obviously actively push things away. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of times it's passive for us
Oh,
in,
yeah.
in modernity. You know, just because we live this high-paced life, you know, I mean, you guys and you, I guess more, I'm not sure, but especially me, I come from such a slow-paced environment where when I first moved to Portland, even when I moved to the city I went to university at in Hattiesburg, the pace of life was a real adjustment, you know,
Yeah.
because there were times plenty of times when I was younger, when I would have nothing to do,
Right.
and I would just take a walk, you know, and think. I didn't have anything else to do,
Yeah.
you know, but with our high-paced lifestyles right now, we always have something to do or something to fill the boredom. I mean, when's the last time you were genuinely bored?
I don't get too bored.
Yeah. There's always something to do.
I could literally
Yeah.
do nothing and
Yeah.
not be bored.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I can just like, just chill out. Maybe think about a few things, but
that's a rarity, especially in our culture, because we're constantly stimulated. Like
Yeah.
we're just looking to be distracted continuously. People, I think it comes from the fact that people don't want to deal with stuff.
no, yeah, that is true.
But if you find the right stuff to deal with, it can be really healthy. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it can be such a good experience, man. Like just sometimes like I'll just sit, you know what I mean, and like take a few moments and just think, and then I'll be like, man, when was the last time I actually did this?
Right.
I just got the screens away and the media, even books or whatever it is, like constantly needing to be entertained and just kind of step back and be like, man, like I need to like think about life.
Yeah, when you
know?
start
it's kind
doing
of
it,
generic, but
You feel refreshed. You feel
yeah, you
like,
really do.
You don't
yeah.
realize like, dang, I haven't been like reflecting on my life at all, and like
Yeah.
when I have these emotions that come like from time to time, like I'm just like glossing over them.
Right.
And then
right,
you take the moment to like actually think about it and actually like, no, let's not drop it. Let's
right.
actually encounter this feeling you're having about yourself or something, and like,
Yeah.
how do we remedy this? And like, you know, it actually, you come to a place of peace about it, and you're like, oh man, why don't I do this more often? But
Right.
it's just like, I don't know, we distance ourselves from our own selves. Like,
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, personally, I'm a glutton for stimulation.
yeah,
I mean,
Me too.
I go out of my way to be doing something, you know, whether that's even as simple as poking around the internet, you know, or like, I mean, we all know how bad we can be with our phones, you know, how hard it is to sit and watch a YouTube video or a movie without whipping it out and looking at your phone, you know. But,
Yeah.
you know, when you have video
Yeah.
games in your life or the back end of this podcast or trying to do a YouTube channel, I always want to be doing something.
Yeah.
And it's when I isolate myself from technology and nature, it's like, sometimes I do seek it out, but when I'm out there and I'm in it, I'm like, man, it's nice to sometimes not have anything to do
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
or not have anything to do.
yeah,
You know,
You know?
I had an experience. I went to California with my girlfriend, and I accidentally forgot my phone at home. And I'm not kidding you. I had the biggest wave of peace come over me on the drive. And I felt this disconnect, like this big stress relief, like a weight off my shoulders. And I was like, I get to just sit here and enjoy the drive. and I don't have to worry about replying to a text or making a phone call or looking a fact up.
Because you
or-
can't. You can't do anything about it.
because you can't, and it was
Yeah.
a relief, and it made it talking to my girlfriend that much more enjoyable, and just like, I don't know, I love those moments. And as sad as it is, it's hard to create those moments. I mean, that was just kind of an accident, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But to go out of your way to create that kind of a moment can be difficult. It really can. But it's great when it happens, though. It's absolutely, it's wonderful when it happens.
I've been using a small little trick. Personally, it works for me most of the time, not all the time. But just like, for instance, like I have my phone flipped over. And so anytime I'm in a conversation or someone's talking to me, I'll just flip it over.
Yeah.
So
I've seen
anytime
that.
stuff pops up, I can't see
can't
it.
see
Yeah, no, I've seen that before. You know, to tell you
It's
the truth,
nice.
it is refreshing if you're hanging out with somebody and they do that. It's a refreshing feeling because you feel like this person's giving me their focus and time of day.
Exactly.
You feel like you're important. You know what I mean?
People pay attention to that more than probably most people think.
Right. No, I 100% agree with that. It's so true.
It's crazy.
It is. Crazy thing.
Wow. One would say.
Wow.
Wow, one would say.
Wow.
Wow.
Wowzers.
Well, and on that note, we're out of time, actually.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah,
That just flew by.
it goes faster and
Fast hour.
faster every week.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for those of you who hung out with us once again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We
sir.
stream every Wednesday night here
Thank
at
you,
the
sir.
Infinite Variety Show YouTube page. Come hang out
just
anytime.
hang and
Ask us
chill.
questions in the chat.
Just have a good time.
Hang
Take
out.
a listen,
Not asking
comment,
for
whatever
much.
you want. Follow us on social media at the Infinite Variety Show at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and check the description for our personal handles.
Yeah. Subscribe and like.
Subscribe and like. It
If
really
you can
helps the
handle it.
channel.
Please. Yeah.
Ronnie will
It really
cut your
helps the
paper in his
channel.
sleep.
Get that. Make
Ronnie
sure
will
the
come to your house and
notification
cut your
bell
paper.
is turned on. So
Turned on. Ciao, everybody.
Bye.
So long.